Hello friends, I hope you're well today. Visiting Japan for the first time can be intimidating, and lots of information on YouTube and SNS can be overwhelming, and you might have extra anxiety about visiting Japan. I asked in the YouTube community and there were 600 votes about what you worry about, so thank you so much for voting. And there are also some opinions about that I didn't put in the choices. So today I'd like to go over 10 major concerns about visiting Japan and solutions for that, so you can have the anxiety-free Japan travel. So first one is overcrowded and over-tourism. There are some comments like leave Kanto. Kanto is where the Tokyo is, and Kansai where the Osaka, Kyoto is, and the number of tourists drops like a rock. So I agree to this. As I was traveling the major spot like Kyoto, Nara, and also like Takayama, Kanazawa, and there's a really big wave of tourism, and some major hot spots like especially talked about on YouTube or Instagram can be very crowded. But in Japan there are lots of other parts that are not busy at all. Sometimes it can be a little bit too off the touristy and not much things to see, but there are still lots of attractive places with lots of like national treasures or things to see. If you're visiting here for the first time, it might be difficult to skip the major spot like Tokyo, Kyoto, and there are reasons that they become the major spot. There are lots of things to see, and sometimes it's fun to be in the top spots with lots of other tourists, but it might be also a good idea to add one or two of the major spots like hidden gems. As this comment said, you can go to the different parts of Japan, or even in the major spot like Kyoto or Kanazawa, you can go a little bit off the street and you might be able to find your own hidden gem. And also, getting up early morning, you might be able to see the same popular place with so much less people. It depends on your taste too, but definitely less people equal very serene and nice memorable place for you. So you can focus on yourself, or sometimes if it's a Japanese garden, you can see inner yourself, or you can also focus on your important partners. And I'm visiting different parts of Japan in recent travel videos, and I got a comment like in Hagi or Iwakuni that they didn't know about those places, or they haven't heard of any places like that, but visited those places after watching my video, and it became one of the highlights of the trip, or it became really good memory. So I keep working on it. So I hope you can check some other videos too. And second one is physical challenges and walking too long. And this was, I found it very interesting because there are lots of things to say that about Japan travel, that you walk a lot. If you use car in daily basis, you might think you might walk a lot in Japan. Also there are lots of opinions that you find more things by walking longer, but at the same time, it's not for everyone. Everyone has a different physical challenges and physical conditions. So I also think as I get older, it's getting more and more difficult, especially with lots of luggages, getting difficult to walk too much. And sometimes it affects the next day or how you can enjoy the travel itself. So I think it's important to see your conditions and accordingly plan the travel. So let me read this interesting comment that I received. Is the Scratching Kiwi-san. The main concerns are, am I fit enough? I think 30,000 is a lot. I think 10,000 over really tiring for me. And I'm over 50 with some very painful joints. I can't bring strong painkillers to Japan without a big fuss. So Panadol ship is a cool thing to paste on you. And too great it is. Also read that insufficient public seating, and that is actually very interesting because I haven't thought about it. And compared with other countries, it might be like, for example, you go to, there might be seating, but it's not something I notice much. I think you do find some seats, but some attraction places, if you go into like busy places, there might not be that much. It might be actually a little bit something you find out too. Next one is Nathan-san. First time this year, Osaka, Kyoto, Mount Fuji, Tokyo. All very cool, but I did too much walking. Also way too busy at all the Instagram and YouTube hotspots. And next time I'll go the less touristy spots and walk less. Just find one or two places to chill and enjoy drinking beers all day on 5 lakes was my favorite part of the trip. So it's actually really interesting. So I think it's also good to take it easy. You might want to put lots of schedule in your itinerary, like lots of places you want to see and not to miss anything. But sometimes it can be too busy to trying to do the schedule. So to feel more about the place and enjoy the time of the moment you are here. I mean, like he said, I think it's a good idea to maybe reduce the schedule to like 2/3 of what you have. Depends on physical conditions. And if you used to drive at home, probably it might be also a good idea to do some practice of walking, like daily basis. You can do a little bit of walking, not to get too much tired. You shouldn't get too tired. I think my parents are also doing, but morning time walking a little bit so she can continue traveling in the future. And if possible, it's better to choose a good season, like a spring or autumn. And my favorite season is spring to the early summer, like in June, because it's close to the summer solstice and the day is much longer than other seasons. So that makes it so much easier to travel. And in winter time right now, like 4:30 it's already dark. So sometimes, maybe because I'm filming, especially for YouTube, it's very difficult to schedule. You feel so rushed that to see everything before it gets dark. Especially you go to the place like outside the city, it gives a big impact on your schedule. Late spring to like early summer is best season for me. But if you travel either midsummer or midwinter, definitely I recommend midwinter, because in summer it's almost impossible, especially for someone with physical challenges or seniors. It can be dangerous to walk outside all day in summertime. So that's something you can consider when you plan a trip to Japan. And number 3 is language, which I got the biggest number of the comments. So some travelers study Japanese for coming to Japan, and it is a great idea so you can communicate with the local people, and that gives a big positive impact to your travel. And definitely this is not something easy, and especially if you travel around different Asian countries, maybe it's difficult to remember all the different languages. So, but if you don't speak, you can use like a Google Translate, and you already might know, but Google Translate is an amazing app. If you see the label with the Google Lens, Google Translation app, you can have it read in English, and it's getting very precise. And Japan has lots of English signs in the stations, on the train, and some major train route, they start to do announcement in English too, by their own voice. So it's getting easier and easier for non-native speakers of Japanese too. But remembering some basic words like hello, konnichiwa, ohayou gozaimasu for good morning, and thank you for arigatou gozaimasu, and excuse me, sumimasen. Probably you know how to say, but I'm sorry, like gomen nasai. You can use as a excuse me too, but that will be very helpful too. And something, when I was doing the live stream earlier, the question was like, most words you use in Japan was fukuro kudasai, which you ask for the plastic bag in the convenience stores or any supermarket. When you go to the cashier, every time you say fukuro onegaishimasu, fukuro kudasai. And that was very interesting, and I think you can also remember fukuro onegaishimasu. The fourth concern was getting lost in Japan. And this was, Milton-san said, I spent 23 days there, Google Maps and Translate, and it worked fine. And I think Google Maps solves everything. Like I recently traveled to the different parts of Japan, and I was also using Google Map, and because I had to use lots of buses, and when I go to kind of off the beaten path, and to take buses really complicating for me too. And but Google Map solves everything. So just turn on the GPS and put the current location and put the destination, and it tells you the distance to the station, how many minutes it takes, and which train to take, which cars of the train you can take for the smoother connection to the next trains, and which bus you can take from which bus stop. So it tells you everything. So in Japan, it works really great. So I haven't used it in other countries, so probably it's same in other countries too, but in Japan it's working pretty fine. It even tells you how many minutes buses are delayed, even in countryside. So this is very useful. And for these objectives, and to search about different things, having the working internet with your smartphone is almost essential for recent travel. And you can get the eSIM or pocket Wi-Fi that I often talk about in this channel. You can also use your international data plan that your carrier might have. So that depends on the country and the carriers of the phone you use. If you have that, it might be easier option. But you can also consider the eSIM and pocket Wi-Fi that you can get when you arrive in Japan. And those you can actually book online in advance, and I have the link in the description below, so please check it. And the fifth concern was the earthquake. the earthquake and tsunami. I'll be going to Japan on Christmas and New Year's. And yesterday I read the news about the earthquake in Japan. Last year on New Year too, yeah. So recently there was a big earthquake in Hokuriku. And I saw in Toyama and Kanazawa some trace of the damage of the earthquake. But in Japan, this is something we cannot avoid in Japan. Something I do avoid is going to the basement, small basement floors restaurant, or I do go, but So something you can avoid is when you stay near the coast, you can stay on the higher floor of the hotel, or you can stay at the hotel with higher floors. Because that way you can, being really realistic, when it's impossible to escape, you can just stay in your room or go higher, and at least you can save your life, especially if it's a strong concrete building and higher floor. And also, even with minor earthquake or mid-sized earthquake, the train or Shinkansen can stop. So it's always recommended to always carry some water and some snacks with you. And sixth is handling luggage. And the luggage shipping company is amazing. And as he said, the Japanese shipping system is pretty good, and I haven't heard any major trouble with it. So if you have any problem that you faced or difficulty, please let me know in the comments. So about handling luggage, you can do three things, like store luggage, send luggage, and stay in the same places. These are the solution for the luggage. Let's start from the third one. Stay in the same places is you can stay in the same hotel. So once you arrive from the airport and go to the hotel, you can unpack the suitcase and you can just carry the little small backpack or kind of handbag and spend the days around the same area, or just make a day trips just in one place like Tokyo, or have the two bases like Tokyo and Kyoto and go to different places from there. One solution for the luggage. And second one is the send luggage. Instead of carrying the luggage by yourself, you can have it shipped to the next hotels. If you move every day, it might be a little difficult. You have to spend the night without the big suitcases. So you have to have a separate small luggage with important essential things like medicine, underwears. So a little bit you need a planning. But considering the traveling around cities and different parts of Japan with lots of luggage, especially if you like to do the sightseeing after or when you arrive at the destinations before you check in, it's a very helpful way. This is also very helpful when you want to focus on your family or children without luggage. It's a good thing to consider. And this is something what I do, but when you go to different destinations, always the first thing is to look for the coin lockers. Usually for small backpack, it can be like 400 yen, and it can be 1,000 yen for big suitcase box. But it's always good to store the suitcases. For major places like Kyoto, there's a clock too, that you can check in the luggage in case the coin locker is full. So this might be the last option that you can think of, because not always the store suitcases or coin lockers are open. If it's backpack, you can carry around and walk, but suitcase, sometimes it's impossible. Like you can't go to shrine or temple with suitcases. Seventh is etiquette and manners. And we all need to educate visitors on the culture and how to act. And I think some people really over worry about etiquette and manners, and I saw some on the internet that couldn't enjoy much because worry too much. Let me talk up to those travelers first. There are some kind of, not etiquette, but the rules, like you have to take off shoes at the restaurant or like some temples, but there's obviously sign, and it's not something you have to worry about again. And you can just look people around you, and there's the signs too. Something in Japan you see as a rule is mostly about not disturbing others or the environment around you. And for example, no talking on the smartphone on the train is something clearly written and announced as a manner. And also there are some unspoken manners, like better not to talk loudly in the quiet residential area in the early morning or late night. So something about being serene or quiet is very strict Japan is about sometimes, but something is very easy, like drinking alcohol on the street or train. There's no fines or penalty or legal penalty about it. But that doesn't mean you can take advantage of that, and you don't have to try to drink the beer on the busy subway in the morning and post on SNS or something. Even if it's not against the rule, it can be considered a little bit misbehaving. So again, it's all about just being respectful to the environment and others around you. It can be local Japanese people or other travelers from other countries too. And first of all, it's not something to be the center point of your travel. You might notice that after you come to Japan once, you might notice that most of the manners or etiquette that being talked about Japan is something common sense across the world. So you don't have to overly scared about making a mistake or being judged by doing something wrong, because mistakes can happen. So as long as you are thoughtful and just being respectful and to local Japanese or other travelers around you, I think you will be okay. And it can be a really subtle thing like opening a little bit way when you're passing by someone on the narrow street. So someone annoying in Japan can be spontaneously annoying person in the home country too, and maybe without any intention. At the point you're watching this video, it's not much thing to worry about. So it might be good to check one or two travel guide video or books about manners, but otherwise, I hope you focus on enjoying your trip. Number 8 is a diet option, and this is a little bit difficult thing in Japan. And Nielsen-san said, use the time wisely to build and feature authentic Japan. And he mentioned about he get a hotel room with kitchen, so it will be easy for vegan diet, vegetarian diet. And not many restaurants in Japan are cautious or careful about specific diet, like vegan, gluten-free, and halal. So you might want to do some research in case you are following certain diet. If you have to follow really strict diet, it might be also good idea, like he said, to get a room with kitchen. It might be much easier to get food at the supermarket and cook your own. When it comes to the vegetarian option, you see some interesting ramen shops or like a hamburger shop that I introduced in the vegetarian videos. So please check if you are interested in it. When you're eating Japanese food, you might notice that many foods are sometimes kind of focusing on too much gluten and carbs. So you might also want to have your own favorite foods sometimes before you get too much bored of Japanese food, like a salad or hamburger, and try to take protein and vegetables when you have the chance. If you like this content, I appreciate if you click like button and also leave the comment about your experience in Japan or what you are worried about in Japan. And this channel is all about Japan travel, and I'm making two types of the content. One for the travel tips video like this for your future trips, and also the second one is a travel vlogs from different parts of Japan, so it can be inspiration for your future travel. The number 9 is the cost. And my number 1 concern is spiraling cost and price increases. And price is increasing. In the daily basis, maybe you feel the same, but the coffee, milk, eggs, price is going up. Of course, the budget is very different depending on the travelers and the viewers. If you like to save, maybe you can save from the hotel, restaurant, grade down to the business hotel. Sometimes business hotel is easier, but sometimes it can be difficult for two travelers because you have to share a really small bed. But that is something you have to look into the size of the bed and the room. But sometimes business hotels are laundry and easy than kind of major brand hotels. So that is something you can consider. And also you can think of using like a chain restaurant. Like if you like trying every street foods and maybe great kind of seafood bowl, it can endlessly cost. So sometimes you can do gorgeous trip, gorgeous day. Next day you can save. You can make the kind of wave of the cost spending, so you can have more memorable trip. That's my idea. So of course, please let me know if there's any way you saved. And the last concern, number 10, is not meeting expectation, or something probably you hear a lot about Japan, but you don't like it, or maybe you are not having a great day in Japan. And this is something important. Is when you're traveling, there are a lot of things happens. It's not every day becomes a perfect day. Don't try to have a perfect day. Don't try to have a perfect vacation, because that sets the expectation very high and make things very difficult. And things happen. Even in Japan, not everyone is like a super nice every day. So don't let anyone ruin your travel, take over your day. I know it is very difficult. For me, sometimes I also think about it all day when there are some things happen. But as I'm getting older, it's getting better, but it is difficult. But time is too precious. Your travel time is too precious to think about it. So do not let anyone ruin your travel, take over your day. And also accept the failure of yourself, because wrong choice or making mistake in the choice can happen. Sometimes you might think like, oh, I should have went to the other place, or I shouldn't have done this. But what I think is important thing is maybe write down what made you feel uncomfortable or upset, or what made you feel comfortable or happier. For example, I went to Takayama recently, and the one bus was pretty full, and I came after to the window side seat, and the person on the other side looked really upset. And I realized I really don't like the full bus with long distance, especially when I'm by myself. And also interesting is I went to off the beaten path, and it was just like a residential area without any kind of sightseeing spot looks like, and it also made me kind of remind me of the daily life, and kind of a bit turn me down. So it cannot be obvious sometimes. The little moment you feel down or upside, you can lie down, and so you can reflect that for the next trip. In contrast, when I was walking in the early morning walk with less people, and when I found a beautiful spot kind of off the beaten path, and also I had a little conversation with the local people. Really subtle conversation can brighten up the whole trip. So as you travel, you can make your own guidebook like for your next time, or how to treat yourself when certain things happen, when you feel in certain way, and maybe you can do a better trip next time. And also you can think it's just a small process and just move on to the next one, so you don't have to overly upset about the day, or you didn't go well, or about something ruined your feeling. So again, try not to be too perfect about the vacation. You can try, but also for that, it's better not to overly worry about one thing or someone. And that is really depend on the character, and some people really might not mind and having like a blast day every day. So maybe it depends on the character, but that is what I think as I travel. Two interesting comments I got is I haven't had any problem in Japan. That's why I keep coming. Everything is so perfect. I think that's a really great to hear. And also, does Dragon-san, it used to be a Godzilla, and so seeing how many times destroyed Tokyo, that's a really big concern, and we have every day. And now he's out of the rest of the world, so not a problem. And the only concern is find out the time to come back to Japan. I hope you can come back to Japan someday soon. So thank you for watching. If you have any concerns about these I talked about, or something I didn't talk about, please share in the comments. Thank you for watching. Have a great trip to Japan. Have a great week until the next video.